get black people out of this condition. And our conclusion was, you can't. Well, my mama told me that shit. You see, you can't get these niggas out of this condition. And then we came to the conclusion that the masses ain't never did nothing but die. Now, let me explain why you are here and you are 1 out of 40 that woke up. So every one of you all is woke that has awakened. There's about 40 niggas who's dead. So the conscious thing is 0.1%, but that's all we need for all of them to transform. So you are going through the transform. It's like the head and the body of the snake. Now let me explain, because you say, well, why is that? Why can't everybody have a national consciousness? So let me try to explain this to you right quick before I go into this one last piece. It's very important. I'd rather get this thing. This one last piece to get this on the film. The reason why the consciousness can't wake up is this. R.A. Swallow-the-Lupins, who studied at the Luxor Temple for 15 years and studied the Kamite stuff for years, he found out some stuff what the Egyptian priests knew in those 15 years of study. And it's also in the Hermetic text, and the guy wrote a book called Stellar Man by John Baines that talks about this. But R.A. Swallow-the-Lupin's wife, Isha-the-Lupin, wrote a book that will explain completely. Can I find it right quick? Y'all all right? Yeah. The book is called Open Another Way by Isha Swallow-the-Lupin. I'll get the book in a few minutes. Open Another Way by Isha Swallow-the-Lupin. Now this is what the Egyptians said about the people on this earth. There's people, I'm going to just paraphrase it for you. There's people that's born on the earth, are spiritual people, and there's the intellectual people. Spiritual people are higher than the intellectual people, because the spiritual people can do both intellect and spirit. So the spiritual people is the intellectual people. You see. And then there is the people, which is the majority of people, it's not even born with a mind. What you don't understand here is that most people, when you're born down here, you're born into what is called an automaton state. You don't have a mind. A mind has to be developed. First, it can be developed intellectually and then spiritually. But if you develop it spiritually, the intellect automatically comes, because spirit is the highest one. Now, we're not talking about religion. Religion is false. That distracts you from the spirit world, because you judge it, and you judge all the shit that's spiritual. You judge it based on a religious doctrine. That's what we have. So don't mistake spirituality with religion. You see what I'm saying? No religion. Islam, Judaism, none of Christianity, none of that shit. You see? Now there's hidden mysteries in the religion that's spiritual, that the religion came to be religion from a spiritual system, that once it breaks down over years, in order to explain it to the layman, they make it into a religion that's supposed to be morals. It has nothing to do with spirituality whatsoever. You see what I'm saying? You know, now, try to understand this. But the third class is what most humans are. And that's mindless automatons. That means they're on automation. So remember in the Matrix, they say that the person is plugged in, you got to look at them as an enemy. Okay, so the reason why our people can't get out of this, because part of our people, based on the way the earth cycle goes, is they're on the automated level or the automaton level. Now, that automaton level, there's one that's higher than the automaton level, and that's the animal level. But the animal goes by its own instincts, and by its own instinct, it functions on the level it's supposed to function on. Certain things they don't do. I see these cats have their babies, and about 3 months into having, 3-4 months into having the baby, function and stuff. They didn't have to be educated to do it. So that's the animal thinking stuff. They always coincide with nature, coincide with their instinctual nature and stuff like that. Now, with the automaton, which messes up, is his goal is to become a spiritual person so he can do the duty of what he was supposed to come here to do, is to become back to the spirit. Or in so many words, God. Because it's an automaton, it's two things. So what the ancient Egyptians used to do, for the people it was the automatons, or the mindless. So everybody, that's why you see black people out here, you go, what was this motherfucker thinking? What you don't realize, he never developed the mind. So 85% of our people didn't develop a mind. So you say, well, how do they function? So the Egyptians used to say, okay, look, this is how this thing goes. The ones that don't have a mind, they are automatons. We will build a culture around them, and if they can function in the culture, that will be the mechanism to which they function on. It's a cultural thing. So they'll do certain things based on the culture. You see what I'm saying? That was instilled into them, or acclimated into them since they was a child. You get where I'm coming from? So culture takes care of those automaton deities. You see? Meanwhile, the spiritual and the intellectual drives the culture. The spiritual gets transmissions from the cosmos. The intellectual breaks the spiritual transmissions down so that you can function with different mechanisms in the society. And the automaton people benefit from a culture that's set for them. You understand where I'm coming from here? So now, when we got out of slavery, it was mostly automatons, we built a subculture of common sense and certain things we had to do because we couldn't do every damn thing. It was against the law. And we functioned in that culture so well until that subculture started teaching the superculture. I don't want to say superculture. The main culture started teaching them ideals on survival, ideals on moralism, ideals on certain things, ideals on how to look at stuff spiritual, like music, like different things we used to do. We even took a religion and turned it into a ritualistic system that could be good for us that lasted for about a good couple of 100 years, maybe about 100 or so years before this shit just becomes repetitious. And it served its purpose and the food ain't good no more. But we fixed it as a spiritual thing, so we put African spiritual elements in it to make it function for us when the time when we had that subculture. So that's why they said they had to come to break us up with integration and all of this kind of thing. So they had to disperse the culture. So now you got people out here, they running around, they're automatons without a culture. You see what I'm saying? Without a culture. So you can come and put drugs in the community because they don't have a culture anymore. You go to put drugs in the Chinese community, guess what they have to say? They will have an elder and they'll tell all the Chinese people, don't take drugs. It's just as simple as that. Yes. You see how fucked up we are? Yes. They can come and go. They don't have to have no programs and pitch money. They will just come and say, don't take no drugs. The Jews don't take no drugs. And guess what? They won't take them because they have a culture. It's already embedded for them to function in the culture, even though some of them motherfuckers are automatons. But so when they took our subculture away, they took our culture away. And as a result, and all the intellectuals, they don't even live in the community no more. You see what I'm saying? And the spiritual people, the people without the culture, call you crazy. If it ain't Christianity. You see what I'm saying? You see, so that's what gets you. So my point here is that you can't get these black people out of this because you don't realize they don't have a mind. As a matter of fact, when the spirit world looks down on the earth, they can only see balls of light. And those are the people that's awake. The other ones, they don't even exist. They're like a transitory, they're like a fucking spook. They don't even exist. So they never lived. Series of events that never happened. That's all this is. It's always an illusion. And the only thing functioning in this illusion is the light. Jesus is the light. The light is the light of the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is what gives you your knowledge and your transmissions. You see what I'm saying? So don't ask, well, am I doing this? My pineal gland, no, you're awake. If you're in here tonight listening to this shit on a Saturday night, your ass, your pineal gland is open. You see? So I always wondered, I've always bothered me, why can't we train the masses? And then I realized what they found out in the ancient Egyptians. The masses don't even exist. They are automatons. They are something to function on the earth to get you through the earth while you become spiritual. You got all these spectators. You see what I'm saying? Why do you think that the white man can kill us up all these years and he don't even get punished by the spirit world? Because he never killed nothing. He made shit alive like he did Troy Davis. He woke Troy Davis' ass up and busted his ass out of prison by killing his ass and taking him out of the bullshit body. And this nigga wanted to go back in the jail cell and be locked up for another 20 years because he didn't know. And like they say in Egypt, every day you live, you're supposed to know something. Because the day that you didn't know something or you didn't learn something was the day that you didn't live. Because there's only consciousness and energy. So a person without mind is not even living. And that's why you can kill them up and people can die by the thousands and the earth don't even shit.
What's up, family? This is Will I Am, aka Brother Prodigy, back with another installment. Today's date is November 23rd, 2015. Okay, and the topic of this installment is going to be everybody is not your friend, or the majority of people are not your friend. Not only are they not your friend, but they can be agents that could work against you. So in these last days, it's important, it's vital for us to really be cognizant of the people we're around and to not hang around with people that are deleterious to our evolution. Okay, this is really important. You know, being self-realized is not necessarily a popularity contest, and at times you will feel isolated, you will feel alone. So this installment is really engineered to the elect. If you're not a part of the elect, this installment's not for you. I don't really care as far as what you're doing or what you're not doing. This installment is basically engineered for the elect, those that are really the chosen, And I'm not speaking of those chosen by the demiurge. I'm speaking of those that are truly called and truly serious about evolving and really serious about trying to comprehend what this dimension's all about, what we're here for, what we're here to do, why we are here, and who we are. Okay, who are we? So, you've just heard my teacher, Bobby Hemmitt, who has been largely responsible for a lot of the information that I've been bringing to you all. You know, and I'm not just regurgitating his information. You know, I can stand on my own too. But he has been, and he still is, a major influence in my life, you know, because he doesn't play the radio. He gives it to you straight like it is. So, like I said, this installment is going to be based upon the realization that one must really come to, and that is to be conscious in this world means that you won't always be liked. You won't always be appreciated by many or even some in this world. Oftentimes, the road that one must travel in consciousness is a road less traveled. And have you ever felt like you're just outgrowing this world? Have you ever completely avoided people just because you know the topics that they like to talk about completely bore you? right now what's happening is that there's a growing divide between those that are truly conscious, self-realized, and those that are just extras in this movie of ours. You see, conscious beings who know that the world is degenerating, and the reason for that degeneration, namely being the lack of higher consciousness on earth. You see, if you are the type of person that thinks that this world is going to get better, progressively better, and I hate to tell you, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's not reality. Not only is that not reality, but that flies in the face of prophecy. I mean, of numerous prophecies, you know. But a lot of people don't want to hear that. They want to hear something that sounds good, something that's soothing to the ears. They want to hear something that will give them joy and make them happy. Everybody wants to be happy nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to be happy. Make me happy. I want to hear something that's going to make me happy. You know, these installments, I don't make these installments to make you happy. Okay? These aren't feel-good messages. This is the truth. And oftentimes the truth is harsh. The truth is unadulterated. The truth doesn't care if you comprehend it or not. The truth will always stand the test of time. So, to be conscious, oftentimes it feels like you live on an island sometimes. You know what I'm saying? With everyone going about living their lives completely oblivious. Isn't that what the agent said in The Matrix? You know, oftentimes it feels like we can share anything and everything with people, but you know what I'm saying? The moment you start challenging their generally accepted beliefs and customs in the Matrix, the conversation shuts down. You can talk about basketball, you can talk about football, you can talk about politics, you can talk about news, but the moment you get on anything conscious or anything that goes against the norms of the Matrix, it seems like the conversation shuts down. Have you ever been in situations like that? To where you can be standing there for like 15-20 minutes listening to everything they got to say about basketball and politics and whatever, but the moment you interject with something of a conscious nature, all of a sudden they got to go back to work, or they got, to call somebody back, or they got to check on their children or anything. People will find any excuse to remain dead instead of electing to awaken, you see? And that's real. And we're not all created to be equal. We're different. If you're truly self-realized in 2015, you are a part of a small percentage, a small remnant that can truly see where we are headed. And contrary to popular belief, the world is not getting better, it's getting progressively worse. Now, what does it mean to be self-realized? And where does self-realization come from? Being self-realized is possessing the ability to know the truth in relation to who you are, where you are, and why you are here. Okay? Being self-realized, which is the epitome of consciousness, is knowing these three fundamental precepts, these fundamental things. Okay? Who you are, where you are, and why you are here, or there, or anywhere. Okay? The answers to those questions will determine a person's level of consciousness. What you must realize is that you are the star in your own movie. Okay? Everyone else is just an extra in your movie. Your evolutionary progress or evolutionary stasis depends upon your actions and reactions within this system. And what system? You might say, well, what system? This system of cause and effect processes that unfold as a result of conscious choice, which occurs within one's own decision space. You see, the universe, the cosmos, etc., is the jurisdiction of many base level and advanced beings. And every object that exists within the larger universal reality has the potential to teach you something. The planets or any other object for that matter has the capacity to teach you something. You see, the planets are the teachers. The houses of the zodiac are historically known as the classrooms, or to be the classrooms, and the signs are the curriculum that one can learn a lot from if one opens up one's own mind. And each planet vibrates at a certain frequency, and when turned into that, and when you tune into that frequency, that planet then becomes an element of consciousness that one can learn from, just like if you were talking to somebody physically on the street, okay? But you have to be in tune. You see, Earth is a part of a greater matrix, but within Earth, men and women create lesser matrices, and you've heard me talk about this before, that are based upon their subjective interpretation of what they think reality is. Okay, so you see that, you know, Earth is a part of a greater matrix. Okay, but oftentimes men and women, or not oftentimes, but they create lesser matrices based upon their subjective interpretation of what they think reality is, and they build various lifestyles around these core beliefs. Okay, also involving ego, like, you know, getting ahead, being the best at something, having more money than someone else. These are all materialistic pursuits of the dead. Okay, all right. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, sustaining yourself isn't important. However, when weighed against gnosis or knowledge, it pales in comparison. Okay, and like I said, I've never been a fan of the phrase "all men are created equal," because it simply isn't true. We are all different, and at the crest are your Israelites. Okay, Israel is a representative of the mother Isis, or Aset, Ra, namely Amun-Ra, being the hidden sun, and El, which symbolized essentially the deific men and women that walk the earth as gods. Okay, collectively they were mystically referred to as Israel. Okay, but there was an esoteric meaning behind that. Okay, it was a way to essentially separate those that possessed the black light from those that were simply just extras in a movie. You know, your soulless beings. And some of you might be, okay, well, define that shit, man. What the hell is a soulless being? You know, a soulless being, or soulless beings, plural, are people that only have a terrestrial existence. Okay, they are products of this matrix. For example, right, you have people with an extraterrestrial origin, which are those that are led by the dreamer or the gamer. Okay, because remember, go back to what I said a couple installments ago. Okay, multi-dimensional consciousness exists outside of our dimensional realm, but they manifest themselves through avatars into third density. Okay, so they can be rightly called, or hyperdimensional consciousness can rightly be called extraterrestrials. Okay, or ETs. All right, so you have people with an extraterrestrial origin, which are those that are led by the dreamer or the gamer. Okay, metaphorically speaking. Okay, the gamer. All right, The gamer is that which exists outside of this dimension, which selects an avatar to interpret third density through. Okay? These are your higher beings. All right? Then you have your lesser beings, which are those that don't have a gamer controlling the avatar. The player's seat is empty, so to speak. Okay? Their consciousness comes from the avatar's automation. All right? They only have one nature, okay, which is that of the avatar. And that avatar, through the ego, actually it adjusts for that deficiency, which produces intellect. You see what I'm saying? So the people that only have one ring of consciousness, or the people that only are attached to this reality via an avatar without being connected to a higher consciousness, they naturally adjust and compensate for that deficiency or that handicap, and that adjustment or that what it manifests as intelligence. Okay? It manifests as intelligence. So actually, the people that come across to you as being highly intelligent are really your weaker beings. Okay, because intellect takes a back seat to hyperdimensional spirituality, aka soul, your soul. You know what I mean? Because there is a difference between spirit and soul. Everything has a spirit. I mean, roaches climbing up your wall have a spirit. That energy lattice that animates physicality. Yeah, everything has a spirit, but not everything has a soul. The soul is that which transcends third density, and not only that, but has access to an infinite number of dimensions we're talking about. Okay, over a series of incarnations that run concurrent with one's own evolution. Okay, so you have two kinds of, and I'm just basically really condensing it into two, but but it can be greater than that. You have pretty much two beings. You have beings that are really products of the matrix, meaning their origin is within this matrix, within this lesser matrix. And then you have your beings that, which I'm going to be getting into later and explaining all this. So if you don't understand, I'm going to go into this later on in this installment. So, and then you have your other beings, your higher beings, that are really the gamer is actually in the seat, that is controlling the avatar from a dimension outside of the one that we're in. Okay? And anyone that's ever studied computer science knows that, the server is outside of the program. You know what I'm saying? Or what's being controlled or what's being perceived. Okay? So, anyway, when speaking of higher beings and lower beings only have one nature or one ring of consciousness, which is that of the avatar and the things that are indigenous to it. Okay? Higher beings have two natures. Okay? The nature of, or at least two natures, the nature of the avatar, which is the flesh, and the nature of the soul, aka an extraterrestrial nature, that which is beyond the physical, or that which is beyond earthly. Okay? These two, or that which is earthly, okay? These two natures war with each other within higher beings, okay? Which is why higher, more advanced beings can be seen as being chaotic, unpredictable, etc. Okay? And even in the Bible, in Galatians chapter 5, verse 17, it says, for the desires of the flesh are against the spirit, and the desires of the spirit are against the flesh. For these are opposed to each other to keep you from doing the things that you don't want to do. Okay? It even the Bible highlights the fact that there is a war, and in the elect there is this war between the flesh and really that Hakodesh Ruach, or that essential part of a person that makes them divine, or gives them the capacity to achieve divinity. All right, there is this struggle. So someone that is, that's why also scripture says you should not judge, because oftentimes the people that you judge and you say, oh, these people are crazy, they don't know what they're talking about, they can't speak correctly, they're not pronunciating their words right, they might, they didn't go to school, that all of that shit is irrelevant. Okay, you're highly evolved, true, highly spiritual, in tune beings are chaotic. Okay, you might be talking to them one day and they're fine, and the next day they're about to jump off a bridge or under a bridge drinking a 40 ounce. You know what I mean? Or sleeping under sleeping under a bridge, being homeless. Like these are your beings that are in tune, that decide to say, fuck the matrix. I'm going to let what I do and my decisions dictate how my life's going to go, and I'm not going to submit to some bullshit ass job for the rest of my life. Even if I got to starve and live on the streets, I'll be free. So we have to really watch the people that we look down upon. We have to really watch the people that we look down upon. Because how many of you decide to say, you know what, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to talk to this homeless guy and I'm going to see where his head is at. I've spoke to homeless people, men and women, and I've learned more from them than I have from a lot of other people that claim to be conscious and claim to be so intelligent and went to damn college for umpteen years and all that bullshit that doesn't mean anything at the end of the day anyway. So it's like you have to shift your whole paradigm. You have to shift the way you interpret and understand reality, because how you were the manner in which you were brought up was most likely wrong. So we have to essentially be born again and learn the gnosis, what is the truth, all over again. Okay, so let's really stop the judgment, y'all, because with the same measure that you measure someone else, it could be measured right to you. And one thing that you can lie to other people, you can even lie to yourself, but at the end of the day, what's really going on. So let's move forward. Let's move forward. Why are these two things opposed to each other? Why, in the Bible it says the flesh is opposed to the spirit, spirit is opposed to. Why are these two things opposed to each other? Okay, is the question. Because the physical body was created. Okay, all right, I'm back. I just had okay. The physical body was created by an entity that wanted to confine or limit consciousness to this third density realm. All right. This entity is commonly referred to as the Father, the Tetragrammaton, okay, who is a jealous God, all right, a revengeful God, all right. However, it was the Mother that blessed creation with the spark of extraterrestrial consciousness. You see, this spark cannot be seen, but the effects of the presence of this spark can be. Okay, you see, and when really discussing the body is an entity apart from the soul. Okay, the soul, I'm gonna tell you what the soul just adds a layer of multi-dimensional complexity to the body, period. Okay, when you die, you fully realize that the body is just a suit that consciousness slips into and out of. All right. The physical body has a nature of its own. The physical body, your physical body, has a nature of its own. Its original dynamics, your body's original dynamics were created and infused into the body, into the avatar, by the Father, aka the demiurge. Okay? For all of you men and women that think you're holier than thou, and evolution dictated the rest. The soul, okay, the soul is a gift from the mother, all right? But here's the thing. It was only distributed to a select few. All right. It was only distributed to a select few. So you had the Father, the Tetragrammaton, Yahweh, Yah, Jehovah, etc., aka the demiurge, which created the physical lattice. And then you had the mother that came in and really blessed a few in number with that which is higher, the soul. Okay. All right. And these few were the ones who originally rebelled against the demiurge. See, these are your original Gnostics. And see, this is the big mystery. See, Gnosticism did not originate with Christianity. It did not originate out of ancient Kemet, aka Egypt. Gnosticism has been around since the beginning because it is simply possessing, or those that possess. Gnosis is knowledge. Gnostics are those that possess the knowledge, which was sacred in ancient times, which was highly guarded, okay, which was looked down upon. If you even had the Gnosis, you were subject to being taken out, being murdered. This is how serious it was, okay? So no, Gnosticism did not originate around the time of Christianity, what's commonly interpreted as Christianity. It did not originate around the time of ancient Kemet, okay, or your pre-dynastic periods, okay? So, no, it was there in the beginning, okay? Because knowledge, gnosis, always stands the test of time, always, okay? It is not just a recent phenomenon, all right? So, the body is an entity apart from the soul. The soul just adds a layer of multi-dimensional complexity to the body. And when you die, you fully realize that the body is just a suit that consciousness slips into and out of habitually. Okay? Now, the physical body has a nature of its own. It has a nature of its own. Its original dynamics were created and infused into the avatar by the Father, the demiurge, okay? And like I said, the soul is a gift from the mother, okay? So, and the ones that received this gift, okay, in Christianity, they call it the Holy Spirit. They pervert it, but I just don't want to even attach Christianity to this because I'm trying to keep this separate because it is separate, okay? And this is the beginning of the Messiah seed, okay, or the lineage of Melchizedek or Melchizedek, okay, as said in ancient Kemet. So we see today that the wars between you have the wars between the sons and daughters of Yahweh, and you have the wars between the sons and daughters of Yahweh and the sons and daughters of Aset, which is Isis, okay? And that continuously and perpetually wages on. Your Caucasians would be the followers of Yahweh, and your Africans, including African Americans, would be your followers of Aset, the Great Mother. So you must realize that all this racial hatred is genetic. It's not just something that's taught topographically. It's genetic. Okay, the ancient battle between Jupiter and Saturn, between Ra and Set. Okay, this is also a reason why European tradition exalts God as being a he, and African traditions exalt God as being a she. Okay, one pretty much believed in a patriarchal society. The other one essentially believed in a matriarchal society. Okay. And if you notice, the ones that believed in the matriarchal society were always your more highly evolved societies. Okay, they were your peaceful societies, because Yahweh, the demiurge, he requires sacrifices daily. Like you had, or weekly or whatever, you constantly had to sacrifice something to this malefic deity called Yahweh. Okay, and it was chaos. Back then it was chaos. The people that did that were doing sacrifices like that, were looked on as savages. They were looked on as the people that they were just dirty, bloody, just savages. Just unenlightened, dreadful people. They were looked at as. Okay? I mean, seriously. It was ridiculous. But life is all about differences. So, most people that we see in our everyday life, or that you see in your everyday life, are just part of the matrix system. They are there in order for you to experience. They're there essentially for your experience in third dimensional matter to be as full as possible. Okay? They take up quote unquote space. They're the ones that, they are your managers at McDonald's to make sure, when you pull up, you get the right order. You know what I'm saying? They just pretty much fill the necessary and requisite parts of the matrix, that in order for you to really have a fuller experience. So they do, soulless beings do also still have a purpose. You know what I'm saying? So, but they have no connection to anything outside of this realm. Their only connection to anyone or anything outside of this realm is you. Which is why oftentimes you will see soulless beings try to harness your loosh or your energy. They will try to do that. Okay. And have you ever had somebody that just always seemed like they needed to be around you, even though y'all had literally nothing in common? Have you ever been in situations like that? Like, I mean, and quite often you might encounter vampires, energy vampires, that not really want to recharge, but the real interest is in your ability to see through the bullshit. You see, consciousness is like a sponge. It absorbs everything, whether it be on the conscious or subconscious level. The thing, quote unquote, that is soaking up all this data is your consciousness, which is a hyperdimensional structure or construct that exists outside of the larger matrix, which is connected to your body by a silver cord or a series of energy points within or immediately outside or around the body called chakras. Okay? And check out a book called The Astral Body by A.E. Powell that was published in 1926. It really goes in and talks about the different bodies and the chakras, which is pretty good. It's called The Astral Body by A.E. Powell. And each layer of consciousness that surrounds and interpenetrates the body is shaped differently. One center of consciousness might be shaped like a pyramid, one might be shaped like an egg, and so on and so on. Okay? And each one has a native vibration or an operating range in which the vibration ebbs and flows within. Okay? You see, the median operating range for all centers of consciousness is somewhere in the middle. Okay? This is why the incarnation of Buddha, stressed the importance of taking the middle path because it decreased entropy within the consciousness. Okay? It decreased entropy within consciousness. So now you have the elect, okay? Or the few. All right? The few that are still viable. All right? The few that are still viable. Those that are still left in our day and age, okay? You also have the purely intellectual. And let me get into this intellectual class of beings, okay? These beings are essentially handicapped. Don't let any... See, I'm about to air it out right now, okay? Look, check this out. Check me out, right? This intellectual class of beings, right? These beings are really and essentially handicapped. Okay? Hyper intellectual acuity is an overcompensation by the spirit or ego for a soul deficiency. All right, and let me say that again. Hyper intellectual acuity is an overcompensation by the spirit or ego for a soul deficiency. Being smart means nothing in the spiritual realm. It means nothing in the spiritual realm. Because in the spiritual realm, it's all about who are you? Okay? Don't give me facts. All right? Who are you? Okay? Straight up. Okay? The spiritual realm is, see, that's why I often say that a lot of people that claim to be conscious are not ready to really transgress into the spiritual realm, because it's going to flip your whole world and your interpretation of what you think life is all about upside down. Okay? Or the realm of greater consciousness. It's all about the soul and its evolutionary advancement throughout time. Now, it's not about how many facts you can internalize, okay? That's terrestrial, okay? In the higher consciousness realm, in the higher conscious realm, you have to have more than facts, because if you're dealing in facts, that's terrestrial. Okay, you have to have a knowledge of self. You have to know thyself. Okay. Now, this class is what I call the class of the antichrists. Okay, your hyper intellectual beings. Okay, I call this class the class of the antichrists. Why? Antichrist simply means one who comes or appears to be in place of the true Christ, or ones that come or appear to be in place of the true Christ. In our current day and age, intellect is looked up to as even being higher or more important than being truly spiritual. Okay, which is weird. If you live in a world where intellect outweighs spirituality, then you live in a world that is inferior to the higher things of consciousness. And you will feel alone or like an outcast because of it. Or you might even get taken advantage of a lot. Let's get on that. And let me say this too, because this is important, okay? Many highly evolved beings, your old souls, get taken advantage of in life. Okay, now this doesn't mean that you're weak. It simply means that your consciousness level is higher than others, and because other people are more savage and debased, oftentimes you forget that not everyone is as caring as you, or not everyone is as loving as you. Okay? The things that you would never fathom of doing, these people do it on a regular basis. Excuse me. which is why you tend to drop your guard sometimes. Okay? You see, it's like this, right? Oftentimes, if you live in the country, right? You live out in the sticks, right? For long enough, you get accustomed to not locking your doors. Why the hell am I lock my doors? My next neighbor is like, 5 acres away. You know what I'm saying? So oftentimes, if you live in the country long enough, you get accustomed to doing stuff like that, like not locking your doors. You leave your doors unlocked, car doors unlocked, because thievery is something that you generally don't have to worry about. Okay, but let's say you drive into town and forget to lock your car doors, and somebody steals your wallet out of your car or your truck. It occurred not because you're weak. It occurred because you're used to a higher frequency and can sometimes drop your defenses when dealing with lower savage and debased people. You see what I'm saying? And again, I'm not saying that intellect is necessarily, well, I'm going to just say this. Intellect is not superior to being truly spiritual. Period. Let me just say that. Okay? Because this is my installment and I can say what the fuck I want to. And if you don't like it, hey, tough cookies. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it moving. Like, this is for the elect. Like, I'm going to hold it down. I'm not about to conform to the superficial standards of etiquette or morality of the Matrix. I'm going to just keep it 100. So if you don't like it, then just don't watch it. Don't listen to it. Just find another video, because this is, this is what it is. You know what I mean? And the ones that are truly spiritual, they'll know. So I'm not even worried about that. Okay. And speaking of spiritual, what does it mean to be spiritual? Let's get on that. What does it mean to be spiritual? Being spiritual means being able to interpret your reality through your first eye, the eye of Heru. Okay. This is how you become a superhero. All right. A superhero is being able to interpret reality through your eye, through your first eye, the eye of Heru, okay, as a god or goddess. The light that you see within your eyes is the light that your consciousness is able to decipher out of the darkness, you see. And right now, we live in a pool of darkness, a triple black sea of energy, okay? And the perceived light that we see is simply a vibration out of the darkness that produces what we label as light. All right? Period. There is no light that exists outside of darkness. Period. All light has an origin within darkness. When your body is unable to exist and wears out, what happens is that consciousness starts to lose the ability to see the 7 various bands of light and focuses on the darkness or the origin of that light. It seeks to go inward. And when you dream, you go into a transdimensional realm of the triple black darkness within your own mind. And out of this darkness is where dreams come from. Within this triple black darkness exists seas and rivers of potential, and the closer you magnify or focus your consciousness, the higher the potential for you to see something manifest out of this darkness. All right? Highly spiritual beings are rare and oftentimes incarnate in order to bring a message of some kind to you. Now, and their lives can also seem to be chaotic. Why? Because something is always the product of nothing. Something is always the product of nothing. Out of nothing comes something. Out of chaos and disorder comes order and complexity. Okay? Because then there exists, because at that point there exists a standard or a measure to go by. Okay, oftentimes a highly evolved being's life will seem chaotic because it has to be. Remember, we're dealing with occult understandings and precepts now. And the word occult simply means hidden. Okay, that which is hidden is usually the direct opposite of that which is manifest, like a mirror. Okay, for example, take this example, right? You have three aspects, right? You have the material body, right? I'm going to use the analogy of a mirror, okay? You have three aspects. You have the material body standing in front of the mirror. You have the mirror itself, which produces the reflection. And then you have the being interpreting the reflection. So you also have you have there your three aspects, all right? Likewise, you also have three aspects of creation, okay? You have what is the mirror, which is the medium of exchange, and then you have what is perceived to be, okay? That which is perceived to be, okay? What is consciousness, all right? The mirror or the medium of exchange is this virtual reality matrix. And then you have what is being perceived or interpreted, which is how you see the world through, which is a three-dimensional, five-sensory body, male, female, or other nowadays. Okay? So you have the physical body, right? Which is one aspect. Then you have the mirror, which is the medium of exchange. And then you have the interpreter, okay? The observer, that which is conscious, interpreting what it is viewing through the medium of exchange, all right? AKA the mirror, okay? And life operates on these same principles, okay? Now, in relation to the third category, all right? So you have your higher level beings, you have your lesser beings, and then you just have your savages. You know, your higher level beings are the epitome of spirituality, aka your souled beings, your ancient beings, the beings that were gifted by the mother. You have your second class of being, which is your lesser beings, those that were gifted by the Father, who function along the laws, statutes, and precepts and codes, commandments of the Father. And then you have your third class of beings, which are just savages. Pretty much, they're just savages. I'm not even going to say animals, because even animals have more of a virtue than these people. I mean, even animals conform and operate along or with, or develop a natural equilibrium with nature. Savages don't even do that. So, this group has no interest in being spiritual, nor do they seek after intellect. Okay? They just operate according to their desire. Okay? And these people are dangerous. These people are dangerous, and you should stay away from them, because they can be manipulated by energies that would seek to do you harm. Okay, be very leery about people who, and you can tell, you're probably thinking of people right now that operate basically off their desires. Okay, they let their desires rule them. Okay, and it's just important for you to, as being conscious, as being the elect, to stay away from them, because they can be manipulated by energies that would seek to do you harm. Okay, just like how the agents in the movie The Matrix Revolutions, could really hop in and out of body. They even did that in the the first one too. They did it in all three of them, I think. How the agents were able to really just hop in and out of the, you know what I mean, the people that are unconscious, the people that are still plugged in. They could assume their bodies in order to get to Neo, or the people that were really freed from the Matrix. You know what I mean? Once they were inside the Matrix, they were at risk to being attacked by the agents, which the agents actually possessed the bodies of the dead in the Matrix to really try and kill them, the awakened beings. Okay. All right. You know, energies can do the same thing with both classes of beings that have no soul. Okay, so having no soul opens you up to the there's always the potential for you to be overtaken. Okay, You know what I mean? But yet it does happen due to your high susceptibility of being possessed, of possession. Okay. And like I said, having no soul makes you an open target for energies that seek to exploit people. With one of the best ways for an energy to exploit an unconscious automaton without violating free will is to prey upon them really according to the person's own desires, and use overcoming influences or suggestions to remotely control that person. So an energy will take a soulless person and not necessarily infringing upon their free will, but just exploiting their desires and working through their desires to really get to you. You see what I'm saying? So like if you, let's just say you were attracted to somebody, right? A certain energy could use a woman or a man to really get to you and to get through a chink in your armor via your desire for a man or a woman to really hurt you or harm you. So we got to keep, you know what I mean? You got to keep your armor on at all times. Okay. And these people could be your boss. Like the people that are subject to this possession, they could be your boss, your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, your son, your daughter, your teacher, etc., your professor. You know, the larger matrix universe exists as a laboratory. And it can be, in a way, it can be seen as neutral, okay? Because I've heard that argument before, and I can agree with that, okay, to a certain extent. The planets are energies that help modulate Earth and her climate, act as sovereigns, essentially controlling the environment and climates here on Earth. And at this level, you can subjectively say that your experience is good, bad, etc. Okay, so the reason why our laboratory called Earth is the way it is because you have numerous energies that act upon it, period. And within that system, you have various systems or subsystems, which I call matrices, that act upon your body, giving you immediate feedback. Okay, people call this karma. People like to label this immediate feedback as karma. Okay, and on top of that, you also have other entities from other star systems that have either visited or are currently living on Earth that have their own goals and objective in relation to what's best for them in their race. Okay, straight up, this is warfare. This is guerrilla warfare. You know what I mean? So right now, the only physical ETs that I've personally seen, and I have personally seen I've personally seen ETs before, okay? But the only ones that I have personally seen are alien greys, okay? Which are weak. Alien greys are a weak race. They are. They're a weak race. Like I wasn't even intimidated by them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to like, gas myself up. I'm just saying like I've met people that like, you know what I'm saying, they were on they square, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's obvious that, not to fuck with that dude. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But like they had no, like they were just weak and just had a weak vibration, you know what I mean? But one thing that I did notice was that, once I got like within arm's length of them, my third eye started to vibrate like pretty serious. But the only physical ETs that I've personally seen have been alien greys, and I can vouch for the fact that they are real. I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are real, because I have met some of them. But I mean, they're not anything that we as a people need to be afraid of. You know what I'm saying? They just seem like your typical cowardly. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was nothing about them that instilled fear within me. You know what I mean? So, and I actually called them out as being alien greys. I actually called them out on them, and they didn't do shit. So that's how I knew they were cowards, because I straight up called them out. You know what I mean? I straight up called them out, and they didn't do anything. So that's how I knew they were just bitches. Excuse my language. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, but you know what I mean? That's how I knew that they were like punks. Let me use the word punk instead. Even though when the English language was being instituted, there when curse words were really, when the object of something being a curse word was invented, the English language wasn't even in existence then. Okay, so really, and the word bitch comes from the word vitch, which comes from being a priestess, or a woman being a priestess of the dog star. Okay, which was really a something that, was like a high title. The word bitch comes from the word vitch, which comes from the witches or the priestesses of the dog star, which is Sirius. Okay, but anyway, I'm getting off track here. Let me see. Where was I? Y'all help me out. What was I at? I know I was talking about Grays. I don't know where was that, y'all? Okay, yeah, like, just know that there's only a small amount of souls down here left that can even comprehend this sort of information. I mean, and if you are one of them, then you need to separate yourself, not into pockets of religious dogmatism, but you need to separate yourself into pockets of conscious beings that just so happen to incarnate around the same time. Okay, you need to start developing communal living systems wherever you are, because it's really going to get tough, okay, for those that are the elect. And I know it seems tough because you want to fellowship and network with other conscious men and women, but it always seems like the person that you really get along with or have a lot in common lives all the way in Timbuktu somewhere. You know what I'm saying? They're never like right down the street from you. They're always like halfway around the world. So that is tough, but just try to establish and develop communal living systems wherever you are, because it's going to get really tough. Okay, and the intelligent soulless beings will always have the matrix to depend on for their survival, as well as the savages. The savages will always be exploited for their savagery, or they will find other victims to prey upon and rob, etc. Okay, but just know that it's not going to be easy. That's why it's vital that you separate yourself and find other men and women to network with, and not just on a superficial, let's add me as a friend on Facebook or be on Instagram or Twitter. No, you need to actually pick up the damn phone and call somebody and talk, and don't get in the habit of telling everybody your business. Keep things a secret. Everybody doesn't have to know your business, especially your future plans. Never tell the dead about any of your future plans or hopes, because they will sabotage the positive energy that you will need for your plans to manifest into reality. Okay. Also, don't congregate around large groups of dead people, because the energies that possess them can confront you and cause you problems. Okay. If you do have a job in the matrix, just do what you have to do. If it's too draining, then quit. Remember, it's always better to quit than to put up with some dead ass coworker or boss whose life is their job. Okay? Separate yourself. Find some conscious people in your area and link up. Because if you haven't realized it by now, other conscious men and women are the only ones who can truly sympathize with what you are going through. Okay? So, with that being said, I am, aka Brother Prodigy, and this is basically an installment. Today's date is November 23rd, 2015. But basically, separate yourself. Okay, get in the habit of getting comfortable being alone. Okay, get in the habit of networking with other conscious men and women. Okay, because it's only going to get tougher and tougher. Okay? That's real. So don't let it stress you out. Just, knowing is half the battle. But just separate yourself. Start to save. Because if you're not saving, then you're just going to get trapped in a perpetual cycle of making money and spending it. And then you're going to always be dependent on the matrix for your survival. Save. Get into network with other men and women in your area that can also save and contribute, so you all can contribute to a common goal, so where you can get out of the matrix. I comprehend that a lot of you might still have jobs and everything like that there, but diligently work to extract the flesh, your bodies, out of the matrix. Okay, because pretty soon we're going to have to flee into the wilderness, because the ones that are incarnating right now it's not looking good. It's not looking good. It's really not looking good. I mean, we will have men and women incarnate that will be strong and that will help us and work with us, but it's always been about the remnant, about the elect. It's never been about the masses. Okay, so just know that. But keep your head up. Once again, my name is Brother Prodigy, aka Will I Am. Check me out. Don't forget, you can get my book. You can either email me straight direct, because like my book on Amazon, you can get my book on Amazon, or you can email me direct, which would probably be better, because I can probably get you the book quicker, as well as I can probably autograph it for you, and send it out to you cheaper than Amazon. So if you're really interested in getting the book, just email me, holler at me. I'm not, it's reasonable price. I think it's like, what, if you email me and get the book, I think it's only like, $10 or $15 or something like that. You spent more than $10 or $15 this week, okay, on something that's probably all about the matrix. You know what I'm saying? So just, if you want a copy of the book, you can email me, just tell me what you want me to write or subscribe in it, and I'll get that to you as soon as possible, and everything like that. We'll discuss shipping and all that stuff, but it'll be cheaper than going the Amazon route, because I'm not trying to, I'm not in this to make money. I mean, obviously, you know what I'm saying? If you just see my lifestyle, you would know I'm not in it for the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the information that I put out, it's all free. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just asking that, if the information has benefited you, you know what I mean, then just, hook a brother up. You know what I mean? It's not too much to ask. But once again, it is what it is. So once again, I am Brother Prodigy, aka Will I Am, signing off. This is November 23rd, 2015. Peace.